Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, review, tell a friend. We do have a great guest, though. Uh, he has a new movie coming out, called Juliet and Romeo, and I'm very excited to talk to him. Dennis Andreas is going to be here via Zoom. So enjoy Razor Riffs with Dennis Andreas coming up next on your listening platforms or your watching platforms, whatever platforms you like.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Razor Riffs with your host, Keith Reza.
Yeah, hey Dennis, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks so much for doing this.
No, thanks so much for having me, man.
Uh,
So is it Keith or Reza, or does it matter?
you could call me Keith or Reza, whatever you want. Yeah.
Is it
Uh,
Reza? Okay, cool.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
what's the what's your background? The name Reza?
Spanish. Yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah, yeah. I get Persian a lot.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, yeah. And then like when people see me, they're like, "You're not Spanish." And it's like, well,
You've got that same Tom Segura. Have you ever seen Tom Segura talking about that?
yeah, yeah. Well, he talks about being uh
Mexican.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
is it Mexican? I think it's Mexican
I think
or
he is, yeah. I've
I could
never
be I could be
I haven't seen Tom live in forever. Like
He's got this whole he's got this whole thing. Sorry, I know you got shit to do. Please don't
no, no,
cut me
this
off any
this is the
second.
podcast. We started.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, no, I was Segura. He's got this entire skit where like I guess he showed up at this hotel, and the front desk clerk looks at him and he's like, "Yep, name please." And Tom Segura's like, "Tom Segura," and he's like, "Oh," and he looks at his computer. And he comes back up and he's like, hmm. And Tom's like, what? And he's
Yeah.
like, I thought you were Japanese. And he's like, what? And he's like, Segura. And he's like, well, anything that you say with the Japanese accent, sorry, Japanese, anything that you say with a Japanese like accent sounds Japanese. So yeah,
Yeah.
of course. But he's got that entire joke about it. I was killing myself. So the fact that you were saying Spanish and people don't think that you're Spanish, I was like, that sounds like the Tom Segura syndrome.
No, yeah. It's so weird, like I mean, I don't want to make this about me because this is about
No,
you,
please.
but
I'm not that interesting.
but I just booked a Latino TV stand-up thing for next week.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, because I do stand-up comedy, and
I heard.
I don't really talk about being Latino in my comedy. I just talk about being on the spectrum and stuff. And so like they want me to talk about it because it's Latino TV. So like I've never really talked about it. So I wrote a joke and I tried it last night,
Yeah.
and it got.
Crushed.
I thought it was funny, but I feel like a lot of people wanted to beat the crap out of me. So
Oh
I
my God, that's
so
hilarious.
so I said, yeah, my last name Reza means to pray in Espanol, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And people always say, "Oh, you look so white to be Latino." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm blessed." And like I think it's hilarious, you know what I
That is
mean?
fun.
But
Yeah.
there's Latinos in the crowd yesterday. I think they wanted to murder me. I was
Yeah, I
like,
want to
"Oh
throw down.
Lord."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where are you
So
located, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Huntington Beach, which is about an hour away from Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where are you?
Born and raised there?
No, I was born in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas boy. What brought you to Cali?
My mom.
Is that, yeah. Yeah. My mom brought me to Canada, so I know exactly how you feel.
So like the scriptures say my mom was driving through Texas, and then she's like, "Holy shit, I have to give birth." Gave birth and then came back to California. So,
My mom did something similar. So I'm originally from Berlin. I was raised there, and my mom really wanted to live in Canada. So she's like, I got an idea. When she was
yeah.
pregnant with me, she's like, I got an idea. I'm gonna fly to Canada. I'm gonna give birth. They can't ship me home. And then
Oh,
she gave
really?
birth to me. Yeah, anchor baby. And so she gave birth to me. I blessed this earth with my presence. And they were like, yeah, he can stay. You gotta go. She's like,
Oh
damn it.
my
So
God.
yeah, it was like 2, 3 weeks later, 2, 3 weeks after I was born, my mom took me back to Berlin. And I have now I have a 2 month old, and the idea of flying with a 2 or 3 week old child, I'm like, I don't wish that sort of shit on my worst enemy. That sounds like torture.
Yeah, but in the 80s it probably was fun.
Yeah, and German parenting, right? Yeah, so it's, go to sleep. Yeah.
But
How long
no,
you been
man.
doing comedy?
24 years.
20, you look like you're 24 years old. How the hell can you do?
Yeah, no, I started when I was 15, so like yeah.
No shit, eh?
Yeah. So
Help me on the math on that. 15, 24,
I'm turning 40. So
turning
yeah.
40.
Yeah.
Big 40, huh? You excited? Got anything planned?
No, no, just
No,
comedy.
no, no. Yeah, yeah. I just plan on turning 40, Dennis.
Yeah. But you know what is weird is because like I don't really celebrate birthdays like that. Like I think the last birthday I was actually very excited about was my 21st birthday, so I could drink, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
And then
course.
after I started drinking, I was like, this is way funner underage. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It loses its, yeah,
so I don't drink now, but like when I was
yeah.
underage, I was like drinking all the time.
Yeah, there's this thing when it's underage, it's like when you're drinking underage, it's a ton of fun because you're not supposed to, and then you're 21, you're like, this shit just costs money and I got a vicious hangover. It's not fun
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah,
Like
it
this
loses
wasn't
its luster.
fun.
You know what though? So I was very similar to you in a sense that like I never really celebrated. Like I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do birthday, sure, fine, whatever. And then somebody pointed out to me, I can't remember who it was for the life of me now, but somebody pointed out to me, they were like, if you don't celebrate certain things,
Yeah.
every year just bleeds into another year. So
Yeah.
it's like it's good to sort of, even if it's like small little get together, make dinner, just something so that you kind of like have that memory of, oh yeah, last time we made pizza instead of having turkey, that sort of thing, right?
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Life already moves at like a breakneck speed if you're not paying attention. So I'm like, you know what? That's not a terrible point. I might make a bit more of a conscientious effort to celebrate little things and
But do you think like that situation is probably now different for you because you said you're a newly father? So like
yeah.
yeah. See like
Um
I don't have any children.
yeah, so when I mean I have a funny feeling I'm speaking on like everybody who has like a newborn. Everybody that
Yeah.
has a new, I feel as if like you kind of celebrate like the night they don't fuss. So it's like small wins and small celebrations, you know what I mean? So yeah, we new parents or new caregivers to young newborns, they celebrate all of this. Like you get an extra hour sleep, you celebrate that thing. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like you're almost like, oh God, what are you gonna be like today? You know what I
Um
mean?
you
Yeah,
know
no,
what?
it's wild. I look back on like the one thing that I kind of noticed. This is going off the rails. We're gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
on a
yeah,
phone call.
yeah.
We're like for like an hour and a half.
No, this is great. But I mean, we'll love to talk about the movie, but we will, but this is more important.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I kind of it's really interesting. You start noticing certain things. Like you check in with your friends that had kids before you, but you never like I catch myself being like, sorry, man, I should have made sure that, you were still breathing. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. I want to make sure you're not bald and gray yet. Like it's that sort of stuff where you're like, I should have like checked in more with the people I care about who are going through it. But like
Yeah.
it's this sort of thing that sort like keeps getting passed on where like everybody that had them after you've had them are like, yeah, I really should have checked in with you. You're like, you know what? I felt the exact same way with the friends that had them before me. Don't even worry about it. It's like this weird lineage thing that happens. Yeah,
Well,
but it's outside of that, it's a
yeah.
blast.
You want to hear a crazy dark, maybe this isn't funny, but at the
No,
time I
go.
thought it was funny story.
Do it, do it, do it.
So I used to work at a day job at a grocery store, and I worked
Okay.
like 30 miles away from my house. And this was in, I would say 2008, 2009, when the house market economy went down, where like it was really
Yeah,
tough to get work. So I
yeah.
needed the money, and gas was pretty pricey back then. I mean, I wish it was
Hmm.
still that price now, but so
Yeah.
so I got a new manager, right? And this guy just didn't like me. Like, you know how you could kind of because I read off energy. I don't see social cues, but
Yeah.
like I read off energy. So you know how you could feel like someone's not gonna like you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So his name was Scott, right? And I
Yeah,
was like introducing myself. I was like, "Hey, Scott, I'm Keith. I'm a struggling actor, and I work here, and I need more hours and stuff." And
yeah.
for some reason, I was like, I have a 3-year-old son, so I need to work. And I don't have a child, right? And I said,
What's Scott say?
so
What's Scott say?
so he actually like liked it. He was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you hours." I was like, "Ah," and the
What's
hours
your kid's
got
name?
well that like
Yeah,
the problem
yeah.
is when you lie, you have to like have like you keep
Lying.
I don't remember what I said like for the story. Let's just say his name was like Jeff or something. So he gave me more hours and stuff, and I was like making money and stuff. And then like he got transferred, and then he came back like 6 years later, right? And this is my last year working there, right? So he comes up to
Fuck.
me,
I
and
know I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
he comes up to me, man. He's like, how's Jeff?" And I was like, "Oh, he's pretty good. No kidnappings yet."
He, he, he
And-
died in a car accident.
yeah, but like, oh my God, it was just so we're like in the moment I did it to help me, but now I think it's pretty funny, but people think
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know
it's a
why I
bit
told
dark.
you.
No, I
Yeah,
love it.
were you drinking a protein
I
shake?
yeah, protein. I was at the gym a little earlier and I was like, I didn't have time to make coffee, so I just quickly threw my protein shake together. Hope you're cool with that.
Oh no, no. I'm a big I drink a lot of soda, and like I don't know, like I just figured this out in the whole 39 years of my existence. But soda is so gross when it's warm. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But iced tea is actually pretty good when it's not
Oh.
iced. It
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
it makes
I
no sense.
I cannot look at so I'm a sucker. I'm not a huge iced tea guy,
Oh,
but when I'm in the US, I'm a sweet tea guy.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I try very hard not to, but when I'm in the US, I crush some good old-fashioned sweet tea, especially
yeah.
like when South Carolina or like Atlanta or something.
This is a good old fashioned Snapple iced tea. And I like Snapple because they give you like little Snapple facts. You want to hear this one?
Please go.
The original Cinderella was Egyptian.
What?
That's what it says on the Snapple fact. I didn't even know
Interesting.
there was an original. Like, I thought Cinderella was a fairy tale. I didn't know it was. But
Yeah, I didn't know it was derived from an Egyptian tale.
yeah, but this is a good transition to your movie, Juliet and Romeo,
Yeah,
because that's kind of like a fairy tale in a way, right? Under
it's a
Romeo and
love story.
Juliet, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask. You probably have been asked this, but why is it called Juliet and Romeo and not Romeo and Juliet?
Oh man, I based off the conversations that I've had and my own little analysis of it, I think it's just because the entire thing was sort of uh, took a different direction in a sense, right? It's a
Yeah,
musical where usually it's not a musical. They've like upped the ages a little bit. It's it takes place in 1301 in Verona. It's very big and very colorful, very bold. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on that sort of flips it on its head, if you will.
yeah,
And I think they kind of took the opportunity to like also have the title flipping sort of play into the fact that they've taken their own sort of I guess approach to the story.
yeah.
It's
Do
probably the easiest way that I can. I was when they told me it was going to be Juliet and Romeo, not Romeo and Juliet. I was like, I was already like when I found out that it was like Romeo and Juliet, but a musical. I was like, hang on, you're taking
yeah,
William Shakespeare and you're gonna, and they're like, yeah. And then I sat down with Tim, and he sort of explained his vision to me and everything, and like the amount of passion that went into, the way that he wanted to tell the story. And I was like, oh, okay, okay, okay. But it was like every single time he was like, we're gonna do this, and I was like, hang on a second, you're gonna do what? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna do that, and I was like, okay, all right, cool. And then he kind of went into detail, and you show up on set, and you got all these like big, beautiful ribbons and banners and castles and outfits and masks and songs, and you're like, Oh, okay, I get it. And then they're like, we're gonna do this, and I was like, you're gonna do what? And they're like, watch. And I'm like, okay. And then they do this, and I'm like, oh, okay. It was kind of
Yeah.
like every time they sort of explained like the next step to me because it was originally called Verona,
Oh,
because it was shot in Verona. The story takes place in Verona, and
that would have
then
been a cool title
yeah,
because then you don't know it's a Romeo and Juliet. So like you could trick the youngsters like me
yeah,
who
exactly.
be like, ah, I'm
The
seeing a
youth.
movie about the fucking country, not
Yeah, yeah,
Romeo and
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
It's a
mean?
documentary, in fact,
Yeah.
a musical documentary. Yeah, no, and I guess like in a nutshell, they were just like, you know what, we've sort of flipped so many things about this story on its head. Let's also flip this, the title on its head.
Is this your first Shakespeare thing you've ever done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yes. First Shakespearean thing that I've done. I was really excited about, which is kind of also, again, back to my previous answer, which is also kind of what threw me off about it because I hear Romeo and Juliet and I instantly think William Shakespeare, right? And
Yeah.
then they explained it to me and I was like, are you allowed to do that? Like, is that, are you allowed to mess around with William Shakespeare's stories? And then it was, kind of added like the different elements. And I was like, all right, I see, I see, I see. Even like the way, I might be jumping ahead here, but even the way they sort of took like Paris's storyline in a sense and like kind of like how Paris has been portrayed in previous versions of this story. It allowed opportunities to sort of massage the story, massage the characters into something a little bit different, a little bit,
Yeah.
bold in a different way, that sort of thing.
Now, for the folks at home, when you say Paris, you mean your character, not the country.
Correct.
Not
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
Because but no, man, like this is so cool that because it's a musical, and like I said, I haven't seen the film. I apologize.
No, no, that's
I
okay.
don't
You've
even
been
think it's
busy.
out yet, but I've
You're
been
busy. Yeah, it just came out yesterday.
oh, it came out yesterday. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm holding you solely responsible to go to the movies alone or with somebody tonight. Oh wait, no,
Oh,
you have your gig. When's your gig?
next week. But yeah,
Next week.
yeah,
So you got some time.
I could take my mother and my 13-year-old son,
There you
and
go. Yeah, yeah, Jeff. My name's
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah. But so like if you can spoil it a little, like do you because you said it's a musical, do you have any songs that you sing? Like is that
Oh yeah, so man, they asked me repeatedly. They're like, "Listen, we need you to sing," and I'm like, "It's called Juliet and Romeo, not Juliet in Paris." And if I sing, that's it for Romeo. You might as well rewrite this story. Uh, Yeah,
I, I like your
I
confidence in the music.
yeah, it's delusion actually, not
Uh,
confidence. If I'm being completely honest, I think I sang a few bars and they were like, you know what? You'll be a non-singing character. And I'm
oh
gonna be
my
like,
God,
yeah,
that's the best.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like yeah, I almost planned it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so here's the thing. I have a huge respect for people that can sing. I find it's mind blowing. I have a huge respect for unbelievable acting. The ability to do both at the same time,
Mhm.
sing and act, is actually it's a completely different beast and one that I still have like a really hard time wrapping my head around.
Yeah.
Um, I I wish I could say that I had the ability to do both very well. I don't. Not at this
Really?
stage of my career. I like to pretend and like to believe that I'm a pretty good actor, but hopefully after many, many singing lessons and the ability to kind of work on both at the same time, maybe they'll give me a shot. It's supposed to be a trilogy, so in
Whoa,
the
it's a
event,
trilogy.
maybe, yeah, that's rumor on
Whoa.
the street. So in the event that that
We
it
gotta
is a
get
trilogy,
you we gotta get you some singing classes because
yeah,
we need a
exactly.
solo in the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, this I got this voice of an. I joked around the other day. I was like, I'm a ballerina, but only in my bathroom.
Uh,
So hopefully they'll let me cut a little rug and dance and sing a little bit in the next one.
but sometimes like in musicals, they are also looking for people who aren't great singers. Like, do you remember when DVDs came out? Like
Oh
I
my
would say
God,
this is
never.
probably the first form of podcasting where they do the DVD commentary and the
At
director would,
the
yeah, the
yeah.
director would talk about the movie and stuff. I remember I was watching Little Shop of Horrors and he was talking about why he cast Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
And he said because Rick was
This
the funniest one, but he couldn't sing, and that kind of made the character more geeky in a way.
Yeah, almost better, arguably
Yeah,
then, right? Yeah. No, I
yeah.
love that.
So,
I was just talking about the commentaries at the end of DVDs and how like you don't get that anymore. And
oh,
now
they
you
were
have
the
to like,
best.
yeah, you have to like suss out interviews and you know what I mean? You gotta like really like check and search all over the web and see what you can find in regards to those people talking about, you know, those projects and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like Fight Club.
Oh, Fight Club,
Uh,
Brad Pitt. Yeah,
yeah, I watched the entire film with like the commentary
yeah,
at the end of it. Like that's how much I geeked out over that film. It was wild. And they like point out tiny little things, but yeah, you're right. It's I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's almost like the first kind of like attempt at podcasting, if you will.
yeah. And like, I wish they still did it because, like, for movie buffs or like even students or actors, like that's very helpful. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I have a tickle in my nose. Sorry, hang on a second.
you have a tickle in your nose?
Yeah, I'm like I
Holy
can't
Lord!
shake it. And all I'm doing is this, and people are gonna be like,
Oh,
"All right, what'd you do before the before the podcast?"
oh yeah, yeah. I have a tickle in my nose as well. Excuse me.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. No, man. Speaking of tickles, have you ever like experienced it with that stuff? Because that's like a dangerous thing, you know what I mean?
Tickling or
The tickle stuff. Yeah.
the tickle stuff? Yeah, no, not a lot of experience in the tickle stuff,
I've
unfortunately.
yeah, like because everything's getting like laced with fentanyl. And
Yes,
so like
wild.
there's a reason why I bring this up because like before the pandemic,
Hmm.
like I never was I was described Xanax because with my Asperger's and my stage fright and all that stuff. And then the pandemic happened. My doctor didn't prescribe me, and I was like, I kind of need it, you know.
Yeah,
Did I kind of blow it, like go over a little? You know, that's debatable, but whatever. I still needed it for the comedy, and they're like, oh no, there's a pandemic. You know, you're not performing, so you don't need it. And I was like, oh,
right.
great, right? But now
It's
the doctors won't prescribe you because the rules have gotten so tight, right? And
since
then
then.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
my mom, she was very weirdly supportive about this. She's like, well, if you buy it on the street because you need it, so
I'll drive you.
yeah,
I
so
know a guy. Yeah.
yeah, so
You know,
then
moms.
yeah, so then I did that for a while, and then like in the news, everything was like fentanyl, and then my mom's like, "No, you can't do it anymore. Everything's getting laced with fentanyl." So
Of
like,
course.
like
Mother's got
the
to look out, right?
yeah, yeah. So like, what I'm saying is like all this stuff is just so crazy where it's
Yeah.
now literally death. When back then, you know, hey, if
Yeah.
you died, you died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's like for sure you're gonna. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's wild. I mean, we could spend a ton of time kind of going like deep diving into this particular topic, but like it's really insane how fast it intensified and
Yeah,
like how like and just yeah, it's wild. And kudos to your mom for making sure that you weren't, you know, going out
yeah.
when it got serious. So out of curiosity's sake, with your stage fright and stuff like that, now I'm interviewing you. With your stage fright, like what you were like, I have to be a comedian, period, end of story, even beyond my stage fright, I'll figure it out with like meds, for example. Like what made
No.
you say, oh, I have to do this thing even though I have stage fright?
So I originally want to be an actor, but the more I did comedy, I realized I'm a terrible actor. So like I'm hoping someone will put me in a movie from my comedy. You know what I mean? Like that's my goal. But
Interesting. Well, you're a good interviewer.
oh,
That's a good start.
oh, well, thank you. I don't count this as an interview. I count this as two dudes chit-chatting. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but like to my point, like I guess what I'm trying to say is, I was actually just, I was just having this conversation. It's kind of a bummer that more interviews aren't more like this, if
Oh
you
yeah,
will.
for sure.
Yeah, it's I feel like a lot of it is like that short format I find is really tough to like really get a sense for the person or the project or whatever the case may be. And I was just having this conversation. I was like, man, it'd be nice to have like a little bit more of like a conversational style chit chat with somebody where you can sort of deep dive into X, Y, Z topics
Yeah,
like this. And
like
so this
Dennis,
is
if I'm being honest with you, I don't really give a fuck about the movie. I care about you. You know what I mean? So,
fair enough. Yeah, no, no, no.
I
I see. Like, I was under the impression they told me he's a huge Romeo and Juliet and Romeo fan. He's seen it like 3 times already. Came out yesterday. No,
like,
no, no,
but
no.
I care about you as the artist. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate it.
So I did stand-up comedy, and I always got bullied, with my autism. I was very nonverbal, and I went to speech therapy and stuff. And then
Cool.
the more I did stand-up comedy, the more I fell in love with it. But I
Uh,
still had stage fright because in a way when I first start when you start comedy when you're 15, you have no life experience. So like I wasn't
right.
very good until I was maybe 25 or 26.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I know exactly
So
what you mean.
you still get stage fright, and then like the my early years, it was like, oh, okay, this is a play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
still very like,
yeah. Well, I mean, and this is not to say anything against your comedy, but I mean, even the greatest comics bomb from time to time. How do you deal with a joke not working with stage fright and, having had to work with like speech therapists and stuff?
I in my mind, I picture I'm not bombing, and I picture like the
Oh.
audiences are stupid or something. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's awesome.
Like I have this bit where like if even if I'm doing well, because like I can't I could read energy, but I can't really hear laughter or anything like that. Like I could feel energy,
Right.
like
In the room.
I could feel you're having a good time, so you think I'm funny, but like I can't really hear you laughing, if that makes sense. It's really
I
weird.
th I think I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, so like I say, oh well, this is like telling jokes at a funeral, and then I just keep like mentioning like
Yeah.
funeral gigs, and it gets kind of dark and stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a dark, twisted sense of humor, man. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
man, you got to. I can
I
appreciate it.
toured with Norm Macdonald for 9 years, and then I started working with Bob Saget. So like I kind of have I
Yeah,
know what I'm doing type of thing, So
those
don't
two
work
dudes are
with me, you might
legends.
die. But so
Yeah, fair enough. No, but those two guys are legends and known to have a bit of a darker sense of humor anyway, right? So
yeah.
you fit in like an old shoe, piece of furniture.
I prefer to say an old boot.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with boot. I'll let you be a boot this time, Keith.
Have you ever gone to a shoe store and just be like, "Hey, where's your boot section?"
No, I haven't. I can't say that I have.
I want to bring back boots. That's the thing. Like in Texas,
I
everyone has boots, but in
Yes,
California, no one has
it's
boots.
all flip-flops. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's
Recycled green flip-flops. Yeah. No, I'm a boot guy. I ride a bike, so for me, I'm always I'm either in gym shoes or in boots, for lack of a better phrase, just because it's like I don't want to. If I have an opportunity to hop on the bike and go, I don't want to be like, let me change out of my sandal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
just kind of always the boot guy. I feel like it's convenient till it. But that being said, in the summer, you can't wear like I wear like it's usually like pants, boots, and like a t-shirt or button up of some sort. But then like, but then it's like you get this like frosty bottom and like weedy top. I'm like a mini wheat, right? Where it's like I
Yeah.
have a tan on top, but if I'm in shorts, my legs are blinding. Yeah.
So I had two questions about riding a bike because I've never ridden a bike because I'm pretty
Uh,
scared of it. But one, does it help you with auditions? Like, because you could just get there. You know what I mean? So like that would be
yeah.
like a
So yeah,
plus.
yeah, for to your point about the COVID thing, less so about, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
what the streets offer, but more so about the COVID thing is like the COVID kind of brought around self-tape auditions in a really
Yeah.
big way.
I don't
So
like self-tape.
for you don't like them? Oh my
Oh,
God, I love them. A lot of actors don't like them. For actually probably similar to your point about kind of you get you get a good read of the energy in the room when you're doing an audition in person.
Oh,
And I don't know if it was a combination. Like, I don't know if it was like always having to drive, like, because where I live, the traffic is absolutely asinine. It's wild. So, like, I drive an hour and a half for a 10-minute audition, and you're kind of like, okay. So, I don't know if it's that aspect, like not having to do that every time I audition now, that I enjoy, that I can sort of do it from my own home,
oh,
or if it's like a combination of that and being a bit of a control freak and being able to massage the scene or the character as I sort of go, if that makes sense. So a lot of times I find I, I don't know, as I find in-person auditions, I it's not natural if you compare it to actual filmmaking.
right.
You know what I mean? You get in the room and you're already like you've seen all the people that you're up against, or a handful of them, depending on what your time slot's like or whatever the case may be. So you're sitting in the room, you see who you're up against, you've seen them before. You know what I mean? It's not that big of an industry that you're like, I don't know these people. It's like chances are you've seen these people, you know what I mean? So first and foremost, you go in, you've already seen your competition, and you're like, all right, I know that guy books a lot. I know based off the character breakdown that it's probably going, and da da da, and so you're
But that could
already like,
also help in your favor, though, right?
I mean, like, depending on who you are and
Yeah,
sort of how you take a look at these scenarios, yeah. And if you're if you're the silver lining, or you're like you're able to spin a scenario like that into gold, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. You can make it work in your favor. But I find the entire sort of process, like, okay, like if I think about being on set, I'm not looking at who I'm up against.
yeah,
I'm looking at the character. I'm focusing on the character. I'm working with the director on blocking, story. Da, 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 da. I'm working, like, I'm kind of seeing like where the steady cam is, how I work at the steady cam. My lines are memorized. I'm working with the actual other character. I'm listening to the act. You're not like, and this is not a knock against readers. It's just like the reader's job is not to like pull the performance out of you.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? The reader's job is to make sure that you have somebody to work across from, the rest is yours. So I find that like 1 to 2 take in, you know what I mean? In, out, thanks very much. We've already decided it's probably not going to be. I find that a very unnatural way to do the job, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. Whereas like if I can do it from my home, I can sort of I don't have to sit in traffic for an hour, hour and a half before I do it. I don't have to take a look at my car. I can focus on what it is that they're looking for. Is
right,
the competition steeper now because they can see more people? Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is that. But it also sort of allows you to, like, so for if I have an absolute dog shit take, I can be like, oh, like I don't have to drive home for another hour and a half being like, fuck. I could be like, all right, scratch that, next.
right.
Do
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
where I'm going with it? And this is sort of, I guess, like, I don't know, call it control free, call it, whatever, perfectionism, whatever you want to call it. It allows me to put my best foot forward confidently. And sometimes it takes me a little while. Like I'll be like I kind of go over the sides and I'm sort of figuring out the character, and then it doesn't I can't actually find the character properly until I've like tried it a few times, and I can like watch it back, and I can
Right,
say to myself, oh, okay, this worked, this didn't work. I like this, I don't like this. I got to put a little more, and I find that in an audition room, with the pressure of like in, out, people waiting, this go, that, 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 that. And then like depending on if it's a callback or if it's the first one, you've got this table of people with these lights on, and everybody's like, whenever you're ready. And I'm like, I just sat in traffic for an hour and a half. I just saw my competition. You know what? You see where I'm going with this? Where I'm like, it's just a
I
very
I think we're
unnatural
two
sort of.
different actors, Dennis, because
Maybe.
I respect your opinion, but I think uh, in auditions is better because like whenever I go to an audition, for example, let me like I see my
Please.
competition, it's always Macaulay Culkin, and I think to myself, all right, that motherfucker's not getting it. You know what I mean? Like so
Home Alone is over, buddy.
it's
Go home.
over. You know what I mean? So like I feel if I got rid of the famous guy, I got a shot.
That's hilarious. Yeah, for me, it's always like George Clooney. I don't know. George, get out of here, man. Go do another Nespresso commercial.
I
God, I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for that one.
No, I did have one more question about Juliet and Romeo because
Please, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I said, I haven't seen it, but did you have any scenes with Jason Isaac? Because I think he's one of the best actors ever.
Jason Isaacs is has got to be one of the best actors ever. He is fantastic. Um, Oddly enough, I think like probably one of my favorite part is remember The Patriot?
Right? Yeah, that was.
He
Oh my
was he
God,
was an he was an yeah, he was
he
an
was so great
absolute
in that.
yeah. You love hating that guy
Like
in The Patriot.
I kind of wanted him to kill Mel Gibson. That's how much I kind of liked him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
No, I was interviewed like a week ago or something, and they were talking about Jason Isaacs, and I was like, yeah, I mean, he was so lucky to work with me, and like we're best friends now, and like he doesn't know this, he's kind of self-conscious about it, so
yeah.
just let's not
Don't
touch that.
mention
Don't
my
bring
name
it up.
if you
Yeah,
see him.
don't bring it up to him. I don't need him getting self-conscious or anything.
Yeah.
Um, so I've worked with Jason very briefly on Star Trek, and then this was a few years back, and then him and I had the opportunity to work again on I had the opportunity to work with him again on this particular project. I didn't have any direct scenes with him that ended up making the cut of the film, but I ended up spending like some time with him while we were working together on set and stuff. And the guy's primo. He's absolute gold. He's an absolute stud.
You know why I think he's so good is because he's not famous and he just cares about what he's doing. You know
The
what I mean?
work. Yeah. The
Yeah.
work and tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy loves tennis and he loves the work. And it's really interesting. Like for me, I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this in a big way. To me, there's so much to be said. Another so like back to like the auditioning process, for example, I spend a lot of time really like fine tuning the character as like the wardrobe starts stepping in and like the
Right.
hair and makeup starts stepping in. And he's a similar actor. He likes to work with like wigs, for example. He's like, I can like with like Malfoy, uh Lucius Malfoy or like for example in Juliet and Romeo, he's got these like big wigs, and he really finds his characters when he like puts wigs on. He's got the wardrobe on and so on and so forth, and I can relate to that in a big way.
Right.
Um, I haven't had the opportunity to wear quite the beautiful wigs that he does, but yeah, it's really wild. Like to your point about him sort of um focusing on kind of what's important and not so much like the exterior stuff. Absolutely. And that makes it like a lot of fun to work with them as well, right? Because you know that the conversations are going to be like work centric.
Yeah. I
Unless you're
audit.
talking hobbies, again, back to tennis.
No, no, that's great. I auditioned for Harry Potter for Malfoy, like right when it
Is that
first
right?
came out. And if
Yeah.
I knew that Jason Isaac was going to be that character's father, I would have taken that audition way more serious.
Way
You
more
know, like
seriously. Yeah.
because another great actor that's very unheard of is this guy named Jake Weber. Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard the name. I can't put a
Yeah,
face to it right
you
now
should
though.
look at his stuff. You would really dig his stuff. And like I said, like that's the type of actors I like. Just people who are like they're not famous, but the work is just like everything you watch them, you're rooting for that character, regardless if they're good or bad or you know what
Yeah,
I
well
mean?
said. I couldn't agree more, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I
Very
mean,
well said.
I find Tom Cruise to be very boring. You know what I mean? Like
Oh my God, just jumping across buildings and
it.
stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but like, I'm not rooting for any character he's doing. You know what I mean?
Really?
No, I'm rooting for literally the opposites. Like, you
Have you
know,
seen him in Magnolia?
I did. I wasn't a fan.
No, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought his
I found
best movie was Vanilla Sky.
it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, that was I just read something about Vanilla Sky, that scene in Times Square where they basically like shut down Times Square. He rolls up in a Ferrari and it's just empty. It was like one
yeah.
of the most expensive scenes ever shot.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, could you imagine?
They had to pay
Um,
like homeless people to get off the street, didn't they? I think they
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Hmm.
Have you spent much time in New York?
No, no, not.
No?
I mean, I've been there, but I've never like. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm like I can do like a solid 72 hours and then I'm like, "Oh, get me out of here. It's too
Really?
much."
Oh my God.
Yeah. I can appreciate it,
Yeah.
but I'm like it's a lot. If you're not used to it, it's a lot. It's a big energy there.
It's kind of like Vegas, where like Vegas is, it's one of those cities that just never sleeps. And,
Hmm.
for the first 2 days, that's cool. But after that, it's very
Yeah.
tiring where you're
Yeah.
okay, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
because I do Vegas a lot with comedy, so
Oh, okay. Yeah,
what
yeah, I
the
bet.
deal is they have you stay there for a week because you're doing all these shows. And it's just like by Tuesday, I'm just over it. You know what I mean? Because like,
Hmm.
you're like, I've seen every hooker in the world. Like, I'm like, let's get me back to Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where the quality of the hookers goes way up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about that, but what I'm saying is in Vegas, you don't know who's a real person or who's not because it's a
Yeah.
big party town and
It's become
like,
very corporate too, isn't it? Like I heard
yeah,
like older Vegas, I heard was like abs like just wild. And it's become very like corporate, very kind of big box sort of thing.
it's so. I mean, if I had the money, I would probably move to Atlanta because I feel Atlanta is probably the new Hollywood, where it's kind of a
I'm hearing that.
cool, where it's like a kind of cool industry. It's kind of party-ish, but it's not, it's respectable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been to Atlanta once. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I personally I really, really liked it. Um, love to go back. I
Yeah.
shot there once actually.
Oh, really? I just,
Yeah,
I just don't know if I could support the Hawks.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That'll be a tough one to get around.
yeah, like
Are you a hockey or what are you
I
what's
love,
your sport?
you're probably hockey because you're Canadian, right?
Well, I'm football actually. I played football for like 10 years, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I like basketball. I watched a couple hockey games. But the last hockey game I watched, true story. I'm not making this up, but you could
Go.
Google it. So I'm watching it, and this guy kicks this guy with his blade, and it slices his neck. And I was like, "Holy shit! Is this hockey?"
This sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I've heard this story. This was like was this like 8, 10 years ago?
No, it was recent. It was like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Really?
And I watched it live, and I was like, "Holy Lord, that's just not, it does not seem like my sport."
Yeah, yeah. This is the UFC version of hockey.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't do that in the UFC either. This is the bare knuckle. Yeah, yeah, there you go.
I gotta tell you, Dennis, like I don't feel I'm ever gonna die because I feel like I feel like I'm gonna live forever. But if I
I like
do
that.
die, I don't want to get my neck sliced. Like that would
I,
just,
yeah, no, nothing about that sounds like I'd want to partake in that either.
yeah, like,
Yeah, no, if I had to go, if you had to go, what way
yeah.
would you want to go?
Oh man. Uh, I would probably say in my sleep.
In your sleep?
Yeah. Like I take the coward way, I guess.
You big pussy.
Yeah. I don't want to drown. I know that for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah, that
drowning
sounds
and getting
awful.
my neck sliced. If
Is that a shoehorn you're sticking in your mouth? What are you doing here?
no, this is my microphone. It broke before you came on, so I had to do my backup, and I'm just I dropped it. Sorry. Uh
No, no, that's okay. You can you go
this is
do.
a dark conversation, man.
It
If
is. It got really dark. I know my
this is
publicist will probably
beautiful.
like wrap
Oh,
it up.
oh yeah, they'll probably never get me another client again, and I really like your publicist. I think you're the smartest dude out there. I think I don't know. I think just shoot me, I guess. I don't know. You know what I
Just
mean?
really
Like
quick.
just
Yeah,
make it
if it
quick.
had to be more exciting than going in your sleep, you're like, just shoot me. See,
Yeah.
like, have you seen oh, what is it? Rain of Fire? I think it's Rain of Fire.
Yes, with
Yeah.
Denzel. Yeah.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
the Dragon
That's
movie.
Yeah, the dragon
The
one with
dragon movie.
Christian Bale and
Yeah,
Matthew
yeah,
McConaughey bald and like yoked. So
yeah.
like there's this thing going around, online where it's like how every man wants to go, and it's Matthew McConaughey like running and jumping off of this like
With
structure
an
with this
axe.
axe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this dragon just like eats him out of the sky. It's
Oh
like
my God.
I'll go that way.
Well, that's a good transition because I actually wrote this question down.
Okay,
Uh,
go.
which animal would you be scared of, like if you came face to face with them? You know what I mean? I mean,
Good question. I like
yeah.
this question. I don't, you know what? Ooh. You know what? I'll tell you what. I feel is it like mammal or doesn't matter. Just
Whatever
anything.
one, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this nickname for the ocean. It's Monster Soup. And I feel like a shark or something because like here's what it is like if I have to be above water, it's like
Yeah.
anything underneath me that I can't like see properly, like that sort of thing. I don't know. That doesn't say, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know that I want to be like prey to a giant cat either, but I feel like if I can't, maybe it's not, maybe it's better to see it coming head on, or if it's like, you know what I'm getting at though, is like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
something really uncomfortable about knowing that there's like something underneath you, but you can't really see what it is.
Yeah.
But then again, like seeing a couple of like glowing eyes coming out of the bush in the dark, I don't know that I'd necessarily be a huge fan of that either. If I had to pick just one animal.
Because I think like if you say like something like a lion and you know like
Yeah,
two lions could eat you at the same time. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like
yeah.
that would be very terrifying because you're like, "Oh, maybe I could handle one because I saw this movie and this guy beat up a lion and
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
very
Big old
unrealistic."
slap.
But
You know what? I've seen The Revenant. I don't know that I'd want to come face to face with a grizzly bear.
oh yeah, but Leo
Yeah.
won. It was so
Yeah, somehow. Did you see him after that though? I don't
yeah.
know, man. And then like you hear these stories, like when you like read some of these like bear attack stories, and you're like, when you see like a footprint, and it just like that sort of like with these like razor sharp claws that are like this long, kind of like step. I don't know, man. That sounds God.
Dennis,
I'm really starting to believe we are not the apex predator they claim we are.
yeah, I've actually survived a bear attack.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I was in
What was his
Alaska.
name?
I don't know, but I was in Alaska, right? And I
Yeah.
came face to face with a polar bear, and I thought, "Holy crap, I'm gonna die," right? So here's
Yeah.
how I escaped death. I gave him a Coca-Cola.
Was it yeah, right around Christmas time, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I just won. I think
That's
snakes are like not like small I think all snakes are scary,
constrictors.
but like big
Yeah.
snakes, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
hear these stories of like in Africa you go to a snake jungle to massage your muscles or whatever the fuck they do and like they wrap around you, right? Like
No,
it's
fuck that.
so yeah, like dude,
Yeah. For the
like
birds. No thanks.
yeah, yeah,
I
like
don't need that kind of yeah, I guess like to your point, it's just like I'm more afraid of anything that kills me slowly.
yeah.
Make it quick. Yeah. If I gotta come face to face with something, I'd like something that kills me quickly.
Yeah, yeah. But
So yeah, snakes. That's snakes. Yeah, because you're just slowly with it. Yeah, it would be sort of like drowning.
yeah.
Can't
The
breathe.
the worst part is if like you're in a snake pit and they're having sex right in front of you. Because like they spin in
With
a
you
ball.
or in front of you?
No, no, like you're in a pit and like when snakes have sex, they spin around in like little circles. So if you're in a snake pit, there's like a thousand little and you're like, "Oh my God,
Like
after
a
these
snake
guys
orgy.
yeah, after these guys, blow their snake load, they're gonna eat me. You know what I mean? Like it's very
Yeah.
terrifying, Dennis.
Yes. It's very Hannibal. Very
So back
you,
to the
you
movie.
yeah, please go on. Yeah, where were we?
The folks are really gonna want to see this movie.
Yeah, yeah. Don't make this a sound. But Leah's getting. Am I getting messages yet? I swear, my publicists are like, stop talking.
No, no. If they, we'll edit it. I'll edit it.
We'll edit it. We'll get rid of
Um,
the really inappropriate stuff.
No, no, I think this is great. No, this is like this is I feel is better because like it shows people your sense of humor and all that stuff. It shows
Yeah.
a real you. Where like I don't know if you do like a panel where they just give you like 8 minutes to talk about the movie and like
Yeah.
everyone's very scripted. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
not really like Norm did it all the time and like Norm just fucking hated doing those panels because he's like that's just not really me. You know what I
It's not
mean?
very authentic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very
Yeah.
disingenuous. You're kind of just trying to make sure that you hit your points. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
As charming as you can still do it in the time allotted and quickly get everything out. It's
yeah.
weird. So I did recently. I went on for an interview, and they were like, oh, hi, my name is such and such, and I'm like, oh, hey, hi, nice to meet- thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Three, two, and I'm like, holy shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was like,
weird.
whoa, holy yeah, that was jarring. But yeah, so I personally like to your point, I like this. I like kind of long format. You can kind of be yourself, try not to say anything too stupid. Like,
Yeah, but if you say something stupid, I just agree with you and it makes me look stupid. So like we're in
we'll
the
be dumb together.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I did have three actually important questions I wanted to ask you.
Please.
I want
All
to
right.
respect your time. I know we've gone way over. Do I have
I
10
had a
more
blast.
minutes?
Yeah. Fortunately my publicists don't live near me, so they can't beat the shit out of me. They can just log off if they're bored or something.
Oh yeah. I think you care too much what they think. Like
Yeah, maybe.
at the end of the day, you're paying them. They're not paying you. You know what I mean?
But
So
I like them, so there you
yeah.
go. All right, three
Um,
important questions.
okay, so I wanted to ask you, like, do you enjoy doing horror films or romantic comedies? Because those are two different types of
Very, yeah.
things, and I know you've done them both.
What did was it Jordan Peele? I think it was Jordan Peele. He said the only difference between comedy and horror is the music or
Yeah,
something to that effect. I enjoy uh, like I don't want to give like that diplomatic answer of like I just enjoy like a really great version of either. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you can have like I mean some of the best films that have like kind of gone down in must-watch films are both romantic comedies like When Harry Met Sally, and so on and so forth. And then you also have The Exorcist, for
yeah,
example, right? I guess there's a lot to be said. Usually in romantic comedies, you don't have to wear prosthetics, whereas like I couldn't imagine being caked in those prosthetics that you get. Like I did one horror film. They gave me a chest prosthetic and they sort of like blew this creature alien type thing out of my chest, and it's like you lay there and you get cast for it, and then they fasten it, and then you're covered in all this like sticky blood and everything. So like if I personally wouldn't be able to give you like I like this version or this version more, but I know that romantic comedies usually don't have as much prosthetic work, so it's
yeah.
easier and cleaner. We'll go with that.
I did a horror movie. It's the worst movie you'll ever see, but it's called House of Karma, and it's actually coming out in October. But since I was a star, I have it on my computer. So I let some friends and family watch it and stuff, and they thought it was so terrible, and I die in it. Eh, So, see, Dennis, this is what I'm saying. Is like I don't care if my manager or agent finds this out because I'm a
That's
comedian. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I die in this, right? And they they're being supportive and they're like, "Well, Keith, the movie was pretty bad." I was like, "Just wait till you see the sequel. I'm gonna have
Wait, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait till you see the DVD commentary that I do at the end of
that
it.
would be great. That's actually
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do
Do it.
I'm gonna be like, all right, bring it back the DVD commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that's cool. And then I wanted to ask you, like, when you fuck, what's it called? It's not an audition, but like you've already done the audition, but you're like with a lady, you're screen testing or screen
Okay,
chemistry,
chemistry
right?
read. Yeah, yeah,
Chemistry read.
chemistry. Yeah,
How awkward are those? Like how do you like what are tips on doing that?
great question. I did a chemistry read. I don't know if they want to be mentioned, so I won't mention them.
Jane
But I did
Doe.
chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I did a chemistry read with Jane Doe at 20th Century Fox a few years back, and truthfully, it was it was not nerve-wracking until it was.
Right.
And I so like I got there, I felt very like to your point about just like being, be like the in-person audition and stuff like that. I went down to LA. I was at 20th Century Fox and sitting there with my competition, and I was cool. I was velvet. Everything was kosher. And then all of a sudden, casting came out and they start laughing me, and I was like, oh, we're getting laughed for this. I'm like, all right, cool. And I sit down, and all of a sudden, like this thing starts happening. And then they're like, great, you're up. I go into the room and it's like dark, like three-quarters of the room is dark except for like the front. And there's
Yeah.
like spotlights on the front. And you've got like 15 people sort of sitting around this room. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is wild. All I can, I guess the best advice that I can give for chemistry reads, because often often they are with people that you haven't worked with before. If you
Right.
have worked with them, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier, a lot more comfortable. And you can usually find your groove because you've spent some time listening to them and working with them and kind of gauging their energy and so on and so forth. So that's familiar. But if it's with somebody that you haven't worked with before, I think it's like just like the bring it back to the basics, like really know your material. Um, know that there's a reason, like understand, not so much know, but understand that there was a reason you got called in for this chemistry read.
Right.
So whatever it is that you sort of brought to the table, like the necessary minerals, if you will, if you brought those to the table, just remember that that is why you got called back. So don't go in there and now all of a sudden try to change gears, like just own that thing that got you into the room to begin with. Understand that what you brought to the table is what they'd like to see more of, and maybe just like a more polished version of that, a more comfortable version of that, if you will, right? So the chemistry read that I had, it was I was very prepared for the actual audition, but then they were like, okay, ad lib. And I was
Right.
like, what? And they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
just go, shoot the shit. Let's talk. We want to see how you argue. We want to see this. We want to see that. And I was like, okay. And fortunately, I this is the only reason that I'm giving this advice is because I accidentally found that that worked really, really well for me. Because
Yeah.
I got called into this room. And it wasn't like I didn't like make a conscious decision in that room to be like, okay, I know why I'm here. They brought me in for XYZ, give them more of that. It was just I had done enough work like on the material and understood, I guess, the assignment, if you will. So when they were like, okay, just riff, I had done enough prep work that I was able to just do that next part. Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
No,
Which is like
definitely.
it's easier set like when you're on set kind of like ad-libbing and adding a little bit and like you've spent some time sort of understanding and massaging the script or talking to the writers or director or producer and they're like, yeah, okay, we like what you're bringing to the table, and then that's easier to kind of like, you've done a scene a couple of times, you add a little something here or change a little something there. But in like to your point with a chemistry read, know your material and understand that you got called in for a reason. Understand the material and what you've put together very well, and then also understand that second part, which is they brought you in for a reason. Mush those together, away you go. And just
It
trust yourself to make the right choices.
it's just really tough because I've done one chemistry read. I didn't get the part, but Jane Doe got it. And
Okay.
um Jane Doe's she's more famous than you and I put together. Like
Okay. Why are you auditioning for Jane Doe's part?
because
Like you're pretty.
I
Yeah.
know, but back you should have seen me, when this happened. I was Brad Pitt Jr., you know what I mean? And but it was so weird because I did the chemistry test with Jane Doe, and there was a kissing scene, and it was just so awkward because like, hey, Jane Doe is really really hot, and I get to kiss her, but I don't know her, so so then I was just like, I totally messed it up because like, it's kind of like, oh, they have like kissing people who guide you when you're filming on how to do it. And then in a
Yeah.
chemistry read, it's
Yeah.
very awkward because there's no one there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think I didn't get the part because Jane Doe thought I was a bad kisser. I don't know. And it like haunts me. You know what I mean?
I say just maybe she's the bad kisser.
Yeah, but she got the part. That's what I'm.
Maybe she had more followers than you. I don't know.
This was before the following thing, but that's what I'm
Maybe you have to
saying.
stop kissing her when they are like, okay, good, cut.
I guess my question was, is that awkward to you, or would that be awkward to you, or was it just a me thing? Like for,
I can confidently say that I haven't had that problem.
okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's just did the scene call for kissing and you
Yeah, it
just
was like the final scene. Oh, she chose you, kiss her scene.
oh, interesting. And
You know,
you were too good a kisser and they were like they felt bad for her. That's why she got the part. She was like, "Oh,
she was famous though, but
you're famous."
I'm comedy famous. I'm not acting famous.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Acting gig I get, Dennis, I just bomb because my acting is kind of like this podcast. I
Don't
just
give him a script.
I just break the barrels, you know what I mean? But my last question for you is if you could
Let's
go
hear
into
it.
a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, and you only have like 20 seconds, what would you tell yourself?
Wow. If I could go into a time machine version or time machine, go back to a younger version of myself, what would I tell myself?
Yeah, like you right now could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version. It could be from yesterday, it could be when you
Yeah.
were 8, whatever.
I heard a bit of advice. Oh, it's like a year and a half ago now. Um, and I've kind of been carrying it around pretty close to the chest in the last year and a half. Um, and I found that that is kind of that's been the best advice that I've gotten in quite some time.
Hmm.
And that's at the end of the day, kind of like regardless of what's going on at the end of the day, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah,
And I think if I had a chance to get into a time machine, go back and talk to little Dennis, I would say the same thing. Be like, you know what? It's going to be okay.
that's great advice.
Regardless of what you think, regardless of what you're going through, regardless how stressed out or whatever, it's going to be okay.
I'm so glad you said that and you didn't say, Dennis, if Keith Reza asks you to do his podcast, say no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And never ever do that podcast again.
Um, no, I would totally say something very similar. I would just go to myself and just be like, hey, Keith Reza is good enough. Because,
Yeah.
because like I get rejected on this podcast a lot by people I want to interview because they don't know me or maybe I'm not super famous and I don't have the numbers. But everyone I've ever interviewed, they love me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
so
You're
it's kind
impossible
of
not to love.
yeah, so like I would just tell myself like, hey, Keith Reza is enough and regardless if people are rejecting me, it's more on them because they're missing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's super fucking healthy. I like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
think it's as I get older, I sort of realize it's like be okay with you first because the earth is just going to keep spinning
yeah.
regardless of what happens. It doesn't matter who said what or what happened or what bombed this or didn't get that part. Earth is going to keep spinning. So
Yeah.
be okay with you. I like that. Good for you, man.
Well, where can the folks at home follow and support you? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
I
Cameo.
I I am an absolute loser with social media. So, the one and only place really where you're going to see any or most of my stuff is going to be on Instagram. It's Dennis CR Andres.
All right. Well,
Cheers.
Dennis, Good luck with Juliet and Romeo.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a massive hit. I think it's going to be so big they're going to like make it a trilogy. And
All right.
so yeah, so like
Yeah,
when
you
the
better go
sequel
watch it.
comes out, I'll
Yeah,
watch it for you. And when the sequel comes out, come do this again, man. I think you're really
thousand
fun.
percent.
And I think you're a good dude, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks very much. I had a really great time chit-chatting.
All right, Dennis. Well, have a good day, and stay
You too,
away
pal.
from grizzly bears or whatever.
Yeah, you stay away from those streets, bro.
All right. All right, Rifters. That was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Raise a Riffs.